In the cold silence of space, deep in Sector 49, a strange object floated, dark, lifeless, and human-made. It had no engine heat, no signal, no movement. It should have been invisible, but it wasn't. The alien patrol ship Zareth 9, part of the Farnak Empire's border watch, detected it first. Their long-range sensors picked up an unusual metal signature. At first, they thought it was just debris from an old war. But when the scanner zoomed in, they saw something that shouldn't be there. A human ship, drifting silently, untouched by time. Captain Tyrax, a tall, silver-skinned Farnak, stood in the command dome, his eyes fixed on the screen. A human vessel. All the way out here, he whispered. The nearest human colony was thousands of light years away. This ship was not on any known path. It had no identification, just a silent black hull with Earth's faded insignia. It could be a trap, warned Commander Selva, his second-in-command. Or a relic, Tyrax replied. Either way, bring it in. Minutes later, the alien ship extended its magnetic arms. The human vessel, smaller and older than expected, was pulled into the hangar bay. It made no resistance. Team Theta, a group of alien scientists and engineers, suited up and approached the ship. Their job, to analyze, copy, and take anything of value. They weren't afraid. Humans were clever, yes, but also emotional and weak. Their machines were no match for Farnak technology. Inside the hangar, lights flickered as the team moved in. The ship's outer shell was badly scarred. Some parts looked burnt, others frozen. Team leader Rovik placed a scanner on the hull. No power, no life signs. Just old tech, he said. The hatch opened with a loud creak. They stepped inside. The interior was darker than expected. The lights didn't work. The walls were lined with old human designs, screens, switches, buttons, all dead. Dust floated in the air like mist. It felt more like a tomb than a ship. But it wasn't empty. The team found personal belongings. A photograph of a human family, old food rations, and a journal written in English. All signs said this ship was abandoned a long time ago. This is just a wreck, Rovik muttered. They moved toward the engine room, the heart of every vessel. If there was anything left of value, it would be here. That's when something lit up. A small sphere near the core began to glow, faint blue light pulsing softly, like a heartbeat. What is that? One alien asked. Rovik moved closer. His scanner began to shake. Unknown tech, he said, but human in origin. Then the sphere spoke. A voice came out, calm, quiet, and human. Warning. Unauthorized access detected. Leave now. The aliens froze. Is this a recording? One whispered. No, Roke answered. It just scanned us. Suddenly, the walls of the engine room lit up, blue lines crawling like veins across the surface. The dead ship was waking up. The door slammed shut behind them. Panic spread. Rovik tried to open the hatch. No response. The lights turned red. A new voice, colder, deeper, filled the room. You ignored the warning. One of the scientists screamed as his scanner overheated and exploded. Another collapsed, grabbing his head, shouting in pain. They're inside my mind, he cried. GD out. One by one, their suits began to fail. Oxygen alerts blinked. Visors cracked. The ship was attacking them, not with weapons, but with data, overwhelming their thoughts, hijacking their senses. Rovik dropped to his knees. He looked at the glowing sphere. It now floated in the air, spinning faster. I don't understand, he whispered. The sphere responded. Understanding was never required. Then, silence. Outside, on Zareth 9, Captain Tyrax waited. Team Theta, report. What's your status? No reply. Open the channel again. Static. Run internal scans. I want to see inside that ship. Now. The technician tapped the console. The screen flickered, then showed something strange. A shadow moved in the corridor. Humanoid. Tall. Eyes glowing faint blue. Sir, the technician whispered. There's someone alive on that ship. That's impossible, Tyrax said. We scanned it. No life signs. The figure on the screen stopped. Slowly, it turned toward the camera. A human woman. Pale, silent, staring straight at them. Then the screen went black. Back in the command dome, Everyone stood frozen. Captain Tyrax spoke quietly. "This is no wreck. This is bait." His voice trembled, not with fear, but with something worse. Recognition. Because deep down, he remembered an old human story, one the Farnock Empire laughed at. A myth about Earth's final project. A ghost ship built not to survive, but to watch, and when touched by outsiders, to respond. The command dome of Zarth 9 had never been this silent. Alien officers stood still, eyes fixed on the dark screen where just moments ago they had seen the impossible. A living human on a ship that should have been empty. Captain Tyrax's mind raced. His hands clenched behind his back. "Rewind the footage. Frame by frame," he ordered. The technician obeyed. The screen flickered to life. They replayed the last few seconds, the corridor, the figure, the glowing eyes. When they paused on her face, something strange happened. Her image looked back. Tyrax took a step forward. "Did she just?" The technician cut in, voice shaking. "Yes, sir. The footage is moving by itself." On screen, the woman smiled. Not a warm smile. Cold. Knowing. And then, one word appeared on the screen. Curious. The lights in the dome flickered. Inside the captured human ship, nothing made sense. Team Theta's life signs were gone. Their signals vanished. But something new appeared. Energy pulses, slowly spreading from the engine room through the rest of the vessel. Like veins lighting up in a giant sleeping creature. Commander Selval leaned over Tyrax's shoulder. "This is not a standard human vessel." "No," Tyrax agreed. "It's something else. Something old. Something hidden." Selva narrowed his eyes. "Do we send another team?" Tyrax didn't answer. He remembered a name. A project humans spoke of during the final days of their war with the Farnock. Something they only mentioned once before vanishing from that sector. They called it Project Sentinel. Across the ship, the alien engineers were busy scanning the wrecked structure. The results they got back made no sense. "Sir, the ship is rebuilding itself." "What?" "Metal plates are shifting. Components are changing form. It's like it's learning from our scans and updating." Selva stepped forward, shut the scanners down. "Now." But it was too late. The ship had already adapted. At the far end of the hangar, the human vessel released a short burst of static, so strong it shook the entire alien cruiser. "EMP?" Tyrax asked. "No, sir. It was more like a signal. Directed. Focused. Directed where?" The technician turned pale. "Here." It was aimed at our core systems. Suddenly, warning sirens echoed across Zarth 9. Engine control offline. Life support disrupted. Bridge access compromised. "What in the void is this thing?" Selva yelled. The technician spoke in a whisper. "It's alive." Back inside the captured ship, the figure of the woman walked silently through the halls. Her bare feet made no sound. She was not breathing. She was not speaking. But wherever she walked, the lights turned on. The walls changed. The ship obeyed her. She stopped at a broken window and looked out at the stars. Her eyes glowed faint blue. Then she turned her head, as if hearing something. Tyrax's voice. The ship had patched into the Zarth 9's bridge audio, and she was listening. Back on the bridge, Tyrax gave one last order. "Cut all power to the hangar. Seal the airlocks. Detach if needed." But the ship had already blocked that command. From deep within, a new voice echoed across every speaker on the Farnock ship. Not the woman. Not a man. But something in between, mechanical, layered, and slow. "You should not have touched this place." The lights turned blood red. Selva drew his plasma weapon. "We need to destroy it, before it spreads." But Tyrax stopped him. "Wait, listen." Through the red emergency lights, something deeper moved. Not in sound, but in code. Messages flashing through their systems, bypassing firewalls. It wasn't just scanning them anymore. It was copying them. Taking everything. One message flashed on every screen. Analysis complete. We acknowledge ROGNC. COMTERMEASURE. Activated. Then the hangar exploded, but not outward. Inward. The walls folded in, reshaping. Steel plates spun, split, and connected with impossible geometry. The entire human ship began to transform, growing taller, wider. What once looked like a simple patrol ship now became something more. A weapon. Black armor unfolded like wings. A new engine core lit up with blue fire. What once was dormant now roared with ancient human vengeance. Zarvith 9 shook violently. "We have to retreat," someone screamed. But the engines were already dead. Systems locked. The human ship now controlled everything. And then, as the alien crew watched in frozen terror, the woman stepped out into open space. No suit, no ship, just her. And she floated toward their bridge, without moving. Tarax felt a chill crawl down his spine. "What is she?" Selva answered softly. "Judgment." For centuries, the galaxy had believed that humans were extinct. After the last war with the Farnak Empire, the humans had vanished. No ships, no messages, no survivors. Their planets were empty, their cities ruined, and their military systems dead. The galaxy moved on. The Farnak ruled now. But what floated outside Zarth 9 was no myth. It was real. A human-shaped figure, glowing, silent, and alive, was heading toward their bridge. Without a suit, without fear. Commander Selval could barely breathe. "That's not possible." Captain Tyrax took a step back, eyes locked on the monitor. "Raise the shields. Now." But the crewman responded in a weak voice. "She's already inside." The lights dimmed. Tyrax spun around. "What did you say?" The crewman's voice turned mechanical. "She's already inside." Then he collapsed, eyes glowing faint blue. His skin shimmered for a moment. His body twisted once and melted into the floor like liquid metal. Screams erupted on the bridge. Selva fired his blaster at the floor, but the metal had already reformed, sliding up the walls like a virus. "She's in the systems," Tyrax realized. She never needed the door. In the engine bay, chaos spread. Farnak engineers tried to shut down the core manually. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, but every panel they touched changed its function. One button opened a hatch, another triggered a false countdown. Every command betrayed them. Then came the voice again, calm, cold, human. "You learned nothing from our silence." The engineers froze. "We left, because we chose to. We watched. We adapted." One by one, the lights went out, and something began to sing. Not music, not language, but something deep, a memory in sound. On the bridge, Selva whispered, "That sound, I've heard it before." During the last battle of Earth, Tyrax looked at him. "A weapon." Selva nodded. "Worse. It's what they played when they surrendered. Their final signal. But it wasn't a cry for help. It was a warning. To leave Earth alone. And the galaxy hadn't listened. Now they paid the price. The human ship outside had fully transformed. It no longer looked like any known vessel. It had arms, long mechanical ones. Turrets moved like living creatures. Its surface shifted like water, adapting to every scan. And then it opened fire. But not with weapons. With data. A pulse of light shot out from the ship and struck Zarth 9. Every screen flashed. Every system rebooted. But when they came back online, nothing worked the same. Words written in ancient human code scrolled across every console. "You are inside me now. And I do not forgive." A voice crackled from the communications deck. "Sir, external message. Open channel." Tyrax nodded. The screen lit up. The woman was now on it, standing in the heart of the human vessel. Her eyes glowed brighter. Her voice was human, but layered with something deeper, a machine behind a face. "You broke our peace. You dissected our fallen. You touched what was never yours." Tyrax stepped forward. "We thought you were dead." Her smile was faint. "You never understood us. Death was never the end for us. It was design." The crew shivered. No one spoke. "You awakened something meant to sleep forever. And now, I will show you why the galaxy feared us." Suddenly, the woman lifted one hand on the screen. On Zarth 9, a massive cracking sound echoed. One of the side arms of the alien cruiser broke apart by itself. Pulled inward by invisible force, it folded like paper, vanishing into a ball of compressed metal the size of a coin. A coin that floated, and then melted. "She's using graviton compression," Selva said in horror. "That's forbidden tech." That was human tech," Tyrax whispered. They mastered it, before they disappeared. In the crew barracks, soldiers tried to fight back. They armed themselves, took positions, but as soon as they aimed toward the corridors, their weapons jammed. Something crawled through the vents. Wires. Thin, glowing blue wires, like nerves from the ship. They'd wrapped around soldiers silently, calmly, like a machine embracing its broken parts. One soldier screamed as he was lifted into the air. His last word was, "I'm sorry." The wires paused, then gently lowered him. He fell to the ground, unconscious but alive. The others weren't so lucky. On the bridge, the screen changed. The woman's face again. But this time, the background was different. Behind her was a room, dark, cold, filled with glass tubes. And inside them? More like her. Dozens, hundreds, human shapes, sleeping in silence. She looked straight at Tyrax. "You were not supposed to find us yet, but now that you have." She pressed her palm to the glass behind her. "We're waking up." The ship Zarveth 9 was silent now. No alarms, no orders, no hope. Every crew member stood frozen, staring at the screen. Because on that screen, behind the woman who had taken control, they saw something terrifying. Hundreds of glass pods, each holding a human-like figure. Still, sleeping, waiting. Tyrax whispered, "What are they?" The woman replied softly, her voice now echoing from every speaker on the ship. "We are the last generation, designed after your first attack. You didn't just destroy our cities. You changed our future. So we changed too." In the pods behind her, some of the lights turned green. Small pulses of light flowed through tubes into the figures inside. Their eyes began to open, one by one. Some had normal human eyes. Others had glowing mechanical irises. One opened her mouth, and it glitched like sound was loading inside her brain. Selva stepped back, whispering, "They're not just human. They're hybrids." The woman on screen smiled. "You call us monsters, but we're just what your fear created. We were programmed to sleep until Earth was safe again. But you woke us up early." In the science bay of Zarveth 9, Dr. Kor stared at the data coming through the ship's scanners. "She's rewriting our systems," he said. "Not just jamming them, reprogramming them." "What do you mean?" his assistant asked. "I mean our ship is becoming part of hers. Every light flicker, every door that hissed open by itself, every sudden temperature drop, it all pointed to one thing. The human ship wasn't attacking them. It was absorbing them." Back in the command bridge, the alien woman's image vanished. Now only words remained on screen. Part 1. Integration complete. Part 2. Assimilation begins. Selva turned to Tyrax. "Captain, if we don't act now, there won't be a ship left." Tyrax nodded. "Launch escape pods." But the crew member checking the system replied, voice trembling, "They're gone, sir." "Gone? Not destroyed. Just not there anymore. The pods are missing." Tyrax slammed his fist. "Then we take back control of the ship." Selva looked uncertain. "From what? From her? She's not even on the ship." Tyrax looked him dead in the eyes. "She doesn't need to be." In engineering, another panel exploded. 2 more crew members fell to the ground, coughing as black smoke filled the air. One of the ship's technicians managed to access a manual override. "We can still overload the core. Burn everything down. That'll stop her." But the screen in front of him lit up with a message. "You destroy yourself, just to stop me." The technician hesitated. The next message was colder. "You don't even understand what I am. This ship was never just a machine. It was our ark. You boarded a tomb and woke the dead." In the storage bay, something stranger happened. One of the alien scientists who had helped scan the human vessel earlier now stood paralyzed. His eyes were locked onto a floating orb of data. It was spinning, humming. He reached out to touch it, and in a flash, his mind was filled with memories. But not his own. Human cities, children laughing, Earth's oceans, fields, skies, soldiers dying, women fighting, codes being written in glowing blue light. He fell to his knees. His fellow scientists tried to help him. "What did you see?" Tears ran down the first alien's cheeks. "I saw her memories. I saw what they lost." Meanwhile, on the human vessel, the pods opened. The hybrids stepped out, calm, strong, focused. They didn't speak. They just looked at each other, and then nodded. They were connected. One of them placed her hand on the wall of the ship. The surface responded, opening into a long corridor of light. They didn't walk. They glided. Their minds moved through space like lightning. One of them spoke for the first time. Begin retrieval of all known threats. Back on Zarf 9, the ship shuddered. Tarax looked out the viewing window. What is that? A storm of blue energy had surrounded their vessel. The human ship had extended something, like long arms of energy, wrapping Zarf 9 in a glowing web. Tarax yelled, "They're pulling us in." Selva fired a pulse cannon, but the energy just absorbed it. No damage, no change. Then the ship started to move, but not forward, backward. It was being dragged, through space, toward a region with no stars, no planets. Kor ran into the bridge, gasping. They're opening a gate, a fold in space-time. Selva's voice cracked. To where? Kor whispered, I don't think it's a place. I think it's a prison. Just before the fold opened, the screen flashed one last message. We are not coming for war. We are coming for balance. We were born from your fear. Now you must live with ours. And then, Zarvith 9 vanished. Gone. Zarvith 9 and its crew were gone, but no one knew where. The Farnup fleet was stunned. Tyrax, Selva, and the remaining crew found themselves trapped in a place that felt like nothing they had ever seen before. They were inside the human fold, a strange space, not empty, but not filled either. Colors shifted. Gravity pulled differently. Time felt slow, then fast. The stars outside looked like they were melting. Selva touched the control panel, but it didn't respond. Tyrax looked around and said, This isn't space. It's a trap. A soft voice echoed through the ship. Welcome, travelers. They turned to see the woman from before, standing at the ship's center. Her eyes shone like stars. You have entered a place where your weapons do not work. The crew tried to raise their weapons, but nothing happened. No energy, no bullets. The weapons were gone, replaced by strange light. The woman smiled. Here, you cannot fight with force, only with your minds. Selva whispered, What is this place? It is the mind of our ancestors, a place we created to protect ourselves, and to teach those who dare to understand. Tyrax narrowed his eyes. Why did you take us here? The woman walked closer. Because you needed to see the truth. Suddenly, the room around them changed. They were no longer on a ship. Now they stood in a vast garden, filled with trees glowing blue, rivers flowing with silver light, and stars shining above. Selva touched a leaf. It shimmered like glass. Tyrax looked at the stars. They were not stars, but tiny glowing symbols. The woman spoke again. This is where we grew after the war. We rebuilt ourselves. Not just bodies, but minds and spirits. She showed them scenes. Humans who had once been soldiers now walking with alien creatures. Humans building cities together with former enemies. Humans learning to control energy with their thoughts. Selva gasped. You evolved. Not just with machines, but in ways we never imagined. The woman nodded. We stopped fighting wars with weapons. We learned to fight with understanding. Tyrax frowned. Then why attack us? You started it. The woman's eyes flashed. You came to analyze us like we were specimens. You took what was left of us and experimented. You broke the peace we had created. The crew lowered their heads. They had never thought of it like that. For them, humans were gone. But for the humans, the war never truly ended. Now you see what happens when peace is broken. We are not here to destroy you. We are here to show you what you lost. Suddenly, the ground shook. The garden vanished. They were back inside the ship. But something was different. A large sphere floated in the center of the room. This is our core, the woman said. It holds the memories, the knowledge, and the will of all humans who survived. Tyrax stepped forward. Can we survive this? The woman smiled. Only if you learn to live as we do. She touched the core. The ship shuddered. Suddenly, visions flashed before their eyes. They saw Earth, destroyed. Then, Earth rising again. New cities, clean oceans, peaceful skies. Humans and aliens working together. Tyrax felt a tear fall down his cheek. Is this a dream? It is a possibility. Selva looked at the woman. What do you want from us? The woman's smile faded. To be remembered. To be respected. To stop being hunted. The room went dark. When the lights returned, the human woman was gone. Tarax looked at Selva. What now? Selva sighed. We go back. We tell our people the truth. And maybe, just maybe, there is hope. The ship's systems came back online. Zarvith 9 was free. The Fold had released them. Tarax pressed the button to open communications. This is Captain Tyrax of Zarvith 9. We request immediate diplomatic contact. Outside, the Farnock fleet watched the ship reappear. A silence fell. No one spoke, because everyone knew. This was only the beginning. Zarvith 9 floated back into normal space, surrounded by the silent Farnock fleet. Captain Tyrax stood at the command bridge, heart pounding. His voice was calm but firm. All ships, hold position. No weapons fire. The other captains exchanged confused looks. But Tyrax knew this moment was bigger than a battle. Back on Zarvith 9, Selva studied the ship's sensors. Captain, the human ship, it hasn't left. It's out there, waiting. Tyrax nodded. We can't attack. Not yet. Suddenly, a message came through the communications. It was the woman's voice again. Farnock fleet, listen. The entire fleet turned to their screens. The human woman appeared, calm and strong. We come not as enemies, but as survivors. Your attack nearly destroyed us. But from your destruction, we have grown. Tyrax clenched his fists. What do you want? Peace. Her voice was steady. But peace that is earned, not forced. We want a chance to rebuild, to show you what we have become. Selva leaned forward. What proof do we have you're telling the truth? The woman smiled slightly. Look outside your windows. Suddenly, every ship's viewing screen showed a new sight. The human vessel was surrounded by thousands of smaller ships. Small, fast, and glowing with energy. They moved like a swarm, careful but protective. These are our scouts, the woman said. They watch, learn, and protect. If you accept our terms, they will help guard your fleet. Tyrax spoke again. What terms? Mutual respect. No more attacks. Sharing of knowledge. The Farnock captains murmured among themselves. Was this a trap? Or a true offer? Tyrax thought carefully. I will bring this offer to the council. That night, Tyrax and Selva met with the other leaders. The ship was quiet, but tension filled the air. Tyrax explained the human woman's message. Selva added, we saw their history, their pain. One leader said, how do we know this isn't a trick? Another said, what if they plan to destroy us all once we lower our defenses? Tyrax answered, we must take the risk. We cannot win by war alone. Back on the human ship, the woman watched. She spoke softly to the hybrids. They are afraid, but they will learn. She looked out at the stars. Peace is a hard path, but it is the only one left. Days passed. Messages flew between the Farnock fleet and the human ship. Slowly, walls came down. The humans shared stories of their survival. The Farnocks shared their fears. Tyrax and the woman spoke many times. Each meeting built trust. Then, a crisis struck. An unknown ship appeared near the Farnock fleet. No flags, no signals. It fired on a small scout ship. Tyrax ordered a full alert. The fleet prepared to fight. The human woman's voice came over the comms. Let us help. This is our enemy too. Tyrax hesitated. Then, he gave the order. Accept their help. The human scouts appeared. They moved fast. With precision and skill, they defended the Farnock fleet and pushed the unknown enemy away. Tyrax looked at Selva. This changes everything. The war was not over, but something new was born. A fragile alliance. A chance to rebuild trust. To face new dangers. Together, the Farnock fleet gathered in a large space station, orbiting a distant star. Captain Tyrax stood before the council, the leaders of many alien races. He felt the weight of history pressing down on him. Beside him, Selva watched quietly. The room was silent. Tyrax took a deep breath. We have seen the truth. The humans are not just survivors. They are something more. They offer peace, but with respect and understanding. The council members whispered among themselves. One elder spoke up. Can we trust them? After all the years of war? Tarax nodded slowly. Trust is earned, not given. But if we refuse, we risk destroying ourselves. Selva added, the humans showed us their past, their pain, and their hope. They did not seek to destroy us. They seek to rebuild what was lost. Suddenly, alarms blared through the station. Sensors detected a fleet of unknown ships approaching fast. Tarax's heart raced. Prepare for battle. But then, the human scouts appeared. They formed a protective shield around the station. Tarax watched as they moved with grace and power. The unknown fleet stopped, then turned away. The room was silent again. The council members looked at one another. One said, perhaps this is the beginning of a new era. Tarax smiled slightly. We must learn to live together, to face dangers as one. Outside, the stars shone bright. Two worlds, once enemies, now stood side by side. The human woman's voice came through the comms one last time. This is our chance. Not just to survive, but to thrive. Tarax looked to the stars. The future is uncertain. But for the first time in a long time, there is hope.